Ohio's next governor, Vivek Ramaswamy, joins me now. You think the mainstream media is going to cover this one?
Well, of course they're not, Jesse. But here's the thing about these stories. I'm glad the truth is now coming out, belatedly, though. And here's the problem with that. The story is just too confusing. If you think about ordinary Americans at home, thinking about whether they're going to put food on the dinner table, thinking about safety in their inner cities, now they're hearing about this. This is now dating back years. This is in some ways the left's plan and the deep state's plan in some sense all along is this is all going to come out at some point in the future, they figure. But by the time it comes out, it's so confusing. People forget even who Christopher Steele even was, let alone the cast of characters that followed. And in some ways, I think that's the travesty of the whole situation is that even when transparency and perhaps justice is served, it's long past the point where the public is able to make sense of it. And I do think in some ways that's the calculated risk that a lot of these people took nearly a decade ago.
You're exactly right. And Limbaugh used to call it the drive-by media. Remember, they come in, guns blazing, just shoot up the whole scene, and then just drive off while everybody is left to pick up the pieces, and they go on to the next target. That's what's happening here. And You're kind of seeing it a little bit with this racial beating that's happening in Cincinnati. You know, it doesn't get a lot of coverage, and then by the time you learn more about it, you know, these guys are getting off on $400 bail. A couple of the guys had long rap sheets, felony charges. One guy was out on bond. And this poor woman's face, I mean, she looks like she went to war in Ukraine.
Look, it's really sad, Jesse. It kind of shocks the conscience. I had a chance to speak to Holly, who was the victim who was affected. It's heart-wrenching to see people who look to have just a good time in their city end up facing the risk of assault or battery or getting beaten up. To me, it's personal. Cincinnati's the city where I was born and raised. And at the same time, I think it's not an option anymore to just sweep these issues under the rug because sometimes it's politically incorrect to talk about crime in the cities. No, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it in the open. And as you well know, Jesse, one of the things I love to do is to talk to even the people who disagree with me on this. So on Monday, I'm going back to my hometown of Cincinnati. We're hosting a town hall. I'm co-hosting it with the NAACP past president of Cincinnati's chapter and a former vice mayor of the city. And the two of us are just going to have an open conversation with whoever wants to show up. Because for too long in this country, we have this culture of fear about certain issues. Well, Americans are suffering from policymakers not stepping up and addressing this spread of crime. I'm going to put an end to that as the next governor of the state. And the way we're going to do it is, yes, radical idea, talk in the open to each other.
All right. It's a smart idea, strong idea. Good luck. I think that'll be fruitful. Thanks so much, Vivek.